Okay, so good day everyone. Thanks for joining the class for the network security. So, as I told you earlier, that this is just an demo session to understand the benefits of knowing network as well as security, that how we can secure our network. Now, guys, you know that a company without network is nothing. So if you take an example of any small company or a big company, they all have networks. Okay, they all have computers. Each and every computers are communicating together. They are sharing the data among them. Okay, and once they have network, they need security to secure their networks, to secure their data communications, to secure their systems. So whenever you are planning to work in any company who is dealing with network, who is dealing with information technology, so you must know about network as well as its security. Okay. So in this we'll come to know the network and some benefits of securities as well. Okay. So now when we are talking about network and security, right? So in that there are some networking devices, some basic networking devices, what is used in the organization. Okay. See, so you'll find organization who have network, they must have routers. Okay, so router is used for transferring the data in WAN. Means when two different network is trying to communicate together, so router is helping them to communicate with the help of routing table and forwarding the data. Okay, so router is used for WAN data transfer. We'll come to know about each and every device detail once we'll start our overall class. So this is just a demo session, so we'll just go in brief and okay. Now switch. So what is switch? So switch is nothing. Switch is used for LAN data forwarding. LAN data forwarding means what? See, switch is not for data transfer. It's just for forwarding. Forwarding means if switch is receiving some frame on its ports, so it will just forward the or broadcast as unicast. Okay, depending on the switch condition, if they have the information, if they have in the MAC table, so it will unicast. If the information to the destination system is not in the MAC table, then it will broadcast. Now firewall. So what is the use of firewall? So firewall is used for securing the data which is transferring from LAN to LAN or WAN to WAN or LAN to WAN, any data which is moving in your organization and you want to secure it. Okay, so you need firewall. So firewall provide data security because we have to secure our data communication. Okay, now there are some companies who is using IP phone. So IP phone is used for sending the voice over data. Okay, so basically what in our networking, this network and security training, we will be working on the routers, switches and firewall. Okay, here I just gave the information that you maybe you'll find these device in many of the companies nowadays because they are using this IP telephonic device for communication. Okay, now, so what is firewall? So guys, you know that the when we are talking about some networkings, so because in networking or basic of networking or network essential, we already came to know that what is networking device, what is switch, what is hub. Okay, so we already know what is firewall. So it's a basic information, like the firewall is used to block uh, unauthorized communication which is coming from untrusted source. Okay, untrusted source means what? The source which is outside of your organization. See, if this PC wants to communicate to this PC, means they are trusted. They are inside the organization. They are using the same network IP address, right? Same pool of network IP address. Maybe this is one and this is two. So of course they are trusted. They can communicate. For them, they don't need firewall. Okay, now, so firewall is what? So firewall is a security system or group of system and rules that manage access between two or more networking devices. It protect a network from external network and its threats. Of course, if my network is here and if I will directly connect to my in the internet, of course the threats will come. But if I have firewall here, so the threats will come and the firewall will evaluate the connection which is coming towards your trusted network from untrusted source. So when it will evaluate, yes, whether it if it is allowed, the firewall will allow to enter in your network. If it is not allowed, it will deny here. So firewall take some actions. Okay, actions, what action is taking? The firewall action is allow or deny. Means if it is allow on the firewall, the connection will be allowed. If it is deny on the firewall, then the connection will be denied. Now firewall other features are like this, that firewall used to filter the packets which is coming towards the trusted network from untrusted network. Simply, I already told you about this one. Now, firewall, how firewall define trusted network and untrusted network. So firewall define the untrusted and trusted networks with the help of zones. Zone is what is just an area which is defined on the interface, that okay, if this firewall has two interface, so one interface is connected toward the my LAN, so this is my trusted, so that will be defined in our inside zone, and one interface which is connecting to my ISP or internet, so that is my outside zone. So it's nothing, on the interface you have to define which is your trusted and which is your untrusted link. Okay, now types of firewall. So we already know that we have two type of firewall. One is hardware firewall and second one is software firewall. So hardware firewall is what? Hardware firewall is nothing, it's just a box with application. Hardware firewall is box with application. So application which is the firewall application is pre-installed on the device. I just have to bring the box and put in our network, configure, and it will start operating. Okay. Software firewall is what? It's just an application which is will be installed in any kind of operating system, like Windows. You can install some application firewalls. Okay, like this. There are many firewalls like Window Defender and some Kaspersky Internet Security. Those are also software firewalls. Okay, and application firewalls. So here we have some examples related to hardware firewall. Like Cisco has its hardware firewall, which is known as Cisco ASA firewall. Okay, adaptive security appliance. Checkpoint also provide hardware firewall. Palo Alto also provide. Fortinet also provide. Mikrotik also provide. Juniper also provide. Cyberom also provides. So I cannot put all the list here. So I'm just giving some examples. Okay, see, Microsoft provide this Defender. Okay, pfSense also provide application firewall. Palo Alto also provide VM application firewall. FortiGate also has the application firewall. Mikrotik also provide application firewalls. Okay, so here simply you have to understand to differentiate the hardware and software firewall is what. Software firewall or application is the same. So software firewall and hardware firewall, if you want to differentiate, it's as simple as hardware firewall comes with box and application. Okay, so the application is pre-installed on the vendor device, but software or application firewall is not pre-installed. You have to install on any application or any box. Okay, now as we are talking about network and security, so here we have some command like ping. Okay, so ping is very important command, as we are network engineers, so we must know few basic protocols which will be used in our daily life. Okay, so if you are working in a network organization. So ping is the daily base protocol to be used. When when server is down, what you will do, oh, let's ping and find whether the server is reachable from you or not. The network is down, let's ping and check. So ping is just monitoring or checking command to find the reachability of any device. Okay, so for example, if I want to ping to this system like 192.168.1.1, so let me use my CMD. Okay, so now, so if I want to communicate with, let me increase some font because this is too small font. Let me make 20. CD backslash. Okay, now let me ping as I have told you 192.168.1.1. So when I ping to this network, right? So I got these informations, right? So what is the meaning of this all information? See, here you are getting some information after pinging, like what? So my system tried to ping. Ping is used to find the reachability to any destination IP or destination server or destination device. And ping is also used to find the availability of the device. Okay. So when I ping to 192.168.1.1, which is my default gateway of my network, so I received some information that okay, reply from 192.168.1.1, byte 32, time 3 millisecond, TTL is 64. So what is the meaning of this? Okay, so let me explain you the meaning of this message. This is very much important because when you will go for interview, they usually they ask okay that okay when I pinged to any destination IP, I received this information. So can you explain the message? Because see, you are a network engineer, you must know the meaning of these messages. It's not that okay, you are getting reply from oh pinging is working, that's it. No. So let's know this message. So whenever you will ping, you will receive reply from 192.168.1.1 byte 32 time 1 millisecond TTL 64. Okay. Now the program by default send. Program means what? The ICMP, the command from what you have used to ping. Okay. So I have used ICMP protocol to ping to the destination network. Okay, so the program which I have run ICMP ping command. Okay, ICMP is a protocol. Okay, and ping is used to send the echo message with the help of ICMP protocol. Okay, so the program by default send 4 data packets consisting of 32 byte, means 32 byte information for each data, means I will send 4 target message. Okay, so 4 target message means this one, 2, 3 and 4, means I normally when you will ping, automatically your system will send 4 packets. Okay, and each packet will be of 32 byte. Okay, now in that packet what information is there? First is byte. Byte is the size of the return packet. Okay, and the return packet is of 32, sending and the packet which is moving from your system okay, and reaching to the destination system. So the size of the byte will be 32. Now time, this one, time is how much time, okay, spelled between sending and receiving a packet. Okay, so when you have sent the packet from source to destination, okay, so here, as I told you, that time is what? Time is that how much time has been lapsed or taken between source to destination for sending and receiving the packet. So how much time? 1 millisecond. Okay. Now remaining is TTL. So TTL is known as time to leave. It is slightly more involved, but basically all it means is how many network nodes the packet can go through before it dies. Means when a PC, means when my PC is trying to communicate to this destination network, okay, so to reach this destination network, how many hops my devices, the ping has crossed, okay. So like the gateway, you can say, so this is my system: one gateway, two gateway, three gateway, four gateway, the hops 5 6 7 8 9, like this. So if to reach this one network 192.168.1.1, if my system will cross more than 64 hops, so my system won't be able to reach this network. To reach this network, my system must be less than 64 hops to reach this network. So this is the limitation to reach that network. Okay. Okay. So now let me give you some other examples. Okay. Okay. Now, if I'm trying to ping 8.8.8.8, same message I'm getting. Okay. But here see the time to leave. So different destination IP, the message can be different, right? Now see, reply from 8.8.8 byte 32, this which is default. Time is not default. Okay. So here 8 milliseconds, 3 milliseconds, 2 milliseconds, 72 milliseconds. Okay. TTL is 118. Means after 118 hops, the destination which is 8.8.8 will not be reachable. Okay. Now, so here what I wanted to show you, that if I am trying to send the information or the data more than 32 byte, what will be the response from the destination server? So if I'm trying ping 8.8.8.8 minus L, and let me send 100 byte, 100 byte data. So if I'm sending 100 byte data, okay, but the destination server, which is global DNS, okay, how much that server is accepting? Only 64 byte information. I'm trying to send 100, but it's not accepting more than 100. Okay, so this is all predefined in the servers. But if I'm taking the same message, if I'm trying to send to my internal organization server or organization gateway, you can say. So if I'm trying to ping 192.168.1.1 minus L, let me send 100. See, my, my default gateway is accepting 100. If I'm trying to send 200, 1000, whatever, it's accepting. Okay. Why it is accepting? Because it's not predefined on my gateway that how much data it can receive. Okay, but in other organization servers it is predefined. Why it is predefined? See, if it will open, okay, So if it will open, a single man can occupy entire bandwidth, right? So if Google will open the bandwidth for a single person, means okay, let me send for a single packet bandwidth. So if I'll send a single packet bandwidth of 10,000 byte, okay, and what about others? That's why big organizations, they define their servers to receive the limited bytes. And what is the MTU which is predefined? You know about MTU, right? It's a maximum transfer unit, and it is 1518 byte. Okay, 1518 byte. Okay, this is not a command, I'm just writing in to show you. Okay, so depending on your data structure and your data center or your network, you can define that okay, how much byte your server or your router or your firewall can receive from outside or inside network. Okay, these all things will work in our network and security class. So here I'm just giving you some examples. Okay, that if you will open, someone will try to penetrate your network, because you know internet is full of hackers. Okay, internet, yes, everyone is connected to internet. Okay, so internet you will find some good guy, some bad guy. So security, what we are learning, is it for good guy or bad guy to secure our network? Of course, to secure network from hackers. Okay, now, so in this demo session we will be knowing about some router basic security and configuration. So Cisco devices basic password configuration we will check with the help of the router console password, router telnet password, router enable password, secret password, encrypting the password, and some Cisco password policies. Okay, so let me come here to the system. Okay, and then we'll work on this. So let me open the lab. So in this, see, this lab is already predefined lab, but what I will do, I'm just going to delete the devices. Network will be the same. I'm just going to delete the devices and I'll bring the device, the new device, and the configuration will be new. So you will understand how I'm configuring, how I'm connecting. Okay. So let me take one router. So this is my company headquarter router. So let me write my H headquarter router. Headquarter one. Then after we need some devices. Here this is, you can say it is ISP. So let me change the symbol. Okay. So let's come here to the custom symbol and then we'll go to the cloud. Okay, so this is cloud, so I can change this host name to ISP, or you can say internet. Change host name ISP internet. Okay, so then after we need some other devices, like one is my branch router. Change host name BR1 means branch router 1. Okay, okay. Then after we'll have one hacker. Now, so let's connect. So from headquarter to ISP, I'm using Ethernet, and from ISP to my branch, I'm using serial 0 by 0, and ISP to hacker serial 2 by 1 to 2 by 1. Okay, so let me explain you this lab. My headquarter router have two physical interface. Okay, one is connecting to my local LAN, okay, and one is connecting to my ISP. And this headquarter has on loopback address also. Internet, this ISP router has three interface. One is connecting to my inside, and two is connecting to my outside network. Okay, outside, what you can say, like to the branch router, and one is the hacker router. And branch has two interface. One is loopback and one is physical. Same here on to the hacker. One is physical and one is logical. And for reachability and communication, we are using EIGRP 10. Now, so let me start all the devices. So when all the devices are started, you just have to click here. Okay, connect all the devices console. So just click this here. You will automatically you will get the console of all the devices. So you have to arrange like PC1, PC2 as per scenario. PC2, then headquarter router, then internet, then branch, and then hacker. Okay, I didn't change the name of the hacker. Okay, let me stop, right click, change host name. Now start and then connect. Right click and go to console. Okay. So PC IP address, we'll see how to configure. Let's come first to the headquarter router. So in see any type of scenario when you are configuring, there are some basic parameters you have to work. So what is the basic parameter? The basic parameter is that you need to configure IP address on all the interface of your devices. So same here, first we are working on the IP configuration. Conf t IP address e okay. And here type here interface e0 by 0 address 12.1.1.1 255.252. Why I'm writing 255 this 252? Because it is slash 30. So when it is slash 30, it's 252, the subnet mask, right? So don't worry guys, we'll come to know about these things when we will start our IP section. Okay, no shut, exit, then come here interface e0 slash 1 IP address 192.168.10.1 and the subnet mask is slash 29. So for slash 29 it is 248 and then no shut. Okay, so two physical interfaces configured. Now we are going to configure the loopback address. So loopback address is what? It is our loopback one and the IP is 1.1.1 slash 32. Okay. Guys, you always keep in mind on loopback you can configure slash 32 but not on the physical interface. Okay. So you come here, interface loopback 1 IP address 1.1.1.1 and here we don't need no shut. Why? Because it's a virtual interface, loopback interface. Okay, so virtual interface is already up. It's not physical, which will go down. So loopback cannot go down. Or okay, so here you don't need to write no shut. Just write exit. Once the interface IP configuration is completed, then what you have to do, you have to type this command. See, you have two commands. Whenever you want to write privilege mode command on the global configuration mode, then you can use do. So here you can write do show IP interface brief exclude unassigned, means show me only the configured interface IP address. Okay, so here if I'll write this command, see the difference. If I'll write this command, see it is showing me the all interface which is configured as well as not configured. Okay, assigned and unassigned. So but I need the information of assigned interface. So of course these are my two physical and one logical interface is configured and the status is up and protocol is also up. Okay, now I'll save the configuration. So the configuration is saved. To save the configuration, you have many command like copy running configuration to a startup configuration, running config to startup config. Okay, there are other command, write memory, or simply just type this write wr. Okay, so you can use anyone, but Cisco recommend this command, copy running configuration to a startup configuration. Running configuration means what? The running configuration same like your MS Word. If you are typing anything and you haven't saved your document, so the text and the data is running in your RAM. So whenever you want to save in your hard disk, you have to click on save, right? So here in running configuration, your configuration is running on behalf of RAM, and you want to save into a startup config means into your NVRAM. Okay, and why we save this configuration? If your hard disk, or sorry, if your router or switch or firewall will restart, so your configuration will be available. So if you will not save, you will not get your configuration back. Okay, now let's come to see, right now we are, see, let me write the steps. So step 1, step number 1. So in a step number 1, what we have done here is that connect all the devices properly. In second step, configure IP address on all the devices and check the interface status. Devices and check the interface status. To checking the interface status, which command we have used? Like suppose R1. Here we have used so IP interface brief, one command, and second command what we have used, brief, and then exclude unassigned, right? So you can use this command to check the interface detail, the status, you can say, not detail. Detail is that show IP interface and the interface name, to check the detail of the interface. So let me write that command also. See, so interface E0 by 0, if I want to check the detail of that interface. So you can write this command. Okay, like see, Ethernet 0 by 0 is up, line protocol is up, what is the MAC address of this device, what IP address is configured, what is the subnet mask, what is the MTU, what is the bandwidth, delay, reliability. Okay, keep alive message, what is the keep alive message, which is sent from one node to another node to check the communication and the status of aliveness of which is 10 second. Okay, what is arc time? Okay, so by default arc time is 4 hour on these Cisco devices. Okay, or on the ethernet, you can say, on the ethernet it is 4 hours, and in the switch the arc table is MAC table, you can say, not arc table. Okay, arc table is created by layer 3 devices and MAC table is created by layer 2 devices. So let's come here, let me write this information status. This is for status and this is for detail, you can say. Okay, so step 1 and step 2 is completed. Okay, let me come to step 3. Okay, now step 3 step 3 is configure routing to provide reachability. Okay, so if you want to check the hacking and the organization threats, okay, and the vulnerabilities, so you must have to provide reachability. If your system is not reachable, how you can check whether your organization has threats from outside or not, right? So your inside PC must go outside, and your outside organization, this outside hacker and the branch system must come inside your. So for that we are providing reachability. Okay. Now, so for reachability we have to configure routing, right? Okay, and to configure routing, which routing is running, any type of routing you can run, static, dynamic, default, whatever. So I'm running dynamic routing, which is EIGRP. Okay, and the autonomous system number 10. So let's come here. Okay, sorry, headquarter is done, right? Sorry. So what we have done, step 2 is done on R1 only, the headquarter router. Okay, let's complete the IP configuration on ISP, branch router, and headquarter, the hacker router. Okay, so let's come to the ISP router. Same here, conft interface E0 by 0 IP address 12.1.1.2. Why? Because 1 is already configured on headquarter router 1. 252, I told you it's a /30, that's why. Then interface serial 2/0, and then IP address 23.1.1.1, and then no set. Guys, can you see here one thing, that I was here on the interface E0 by 0. After configuring, I just moved to serial 2 by 0. So if you want, you can write exit to come to the global configuration. Okay, not on add, or if you want just to write this one to directly switch to one interface to another interface. Okay, like if I want to configure something, so I can write exit, and then I can write the interface serial 2 by 0 like this, or you directly run and you can move to the interface on which you want to configure IP address. Okay, sorry. So serial 2 by 0, I have configured serial 2 by 0, which is 23.1. Okay, one interface is still remaining, serial 2 by 1. So interface serial 2 by 1 IP address is 24.1.1.1. No set. So here also the configuration is completed. I can exit, come to the privilege mode, and then we can save the configuration and check with the same command. So IP interface brief, and then exclude unassigned. Cisco is very clever. Okay, so or you can say Cisco IOS is very smart. Okay, so when you write int, automatically it detect. Okay, that int means interface. Okay, now so you can check here. So the status Ethernet 0 is up, but serial 2 by 0 and serial 2 by 1 is down. Why? Because the connected device, the status is down. That's why the protocol is down. Okay, so when I will configure branch router, and hacker router, then the status will automatically come, sorry, protocol will come up. So let me come here to the branch router, conf t interface loopback 1 IP address 2.2.2.2. Then I'll go to interface serial 2/0 IP address 23.2. No shot and do that. So the configuration is completed. So IP interface brief exclude unassigned to check. Okay. So I have two interface on branch router. One is physical serial 2/0 and logical is 222. It is already here. Now I'm come to hacker system. Conf t interface loopback 1 IP address 3.3.3.3. Then interface 20, sorry, interface serial 2/1 IP address is 24.1.1.2. No shut. Okay, configuration is completed on the hacker router. Save and check. So IP interface brief exclude unassigned. Completed. Now if you'll check on the ISP router, see earlier it was down, you can see here, but now the status and protocol is up. See, this is very much important. That's why I have written the step. After configuring IP address, please check the interface status. It's not that blindly you are configuring, and at the end once the lab is configured and now you are checking the reachability and the reachability has problem. Why? Because the IP configuration was not correct or maybe the interface was down. So you go with the steps. Configure, check, then you will not have any kind of problem while configuring the lab and checking the status of the communication and the reachability. Okay, so IP configuration is completed on all the three devices which is in our lab, four devices, sorry. Okay, now let's PC IP address. So PC IP address is already configured, so let me configure again to show you how to configure PC IP address. Simply you have to write IP 192.168.10.2/29 and the gateway is 192.168.10.1. Why? Because see, this is my network 192.168.10.0/29. So one is already configured on the this headquarter router E0 by 1. Okay, so the 10.1 is the default gateway of my network LAN PC. Same here also I have configured 3. Okay, you can configure like this also, or you can configure the shortcut method what you have written here. So you can write full or you can write like this. Okay, now so once the reachability is done, now I'll come here. Okay, on my PC and IP configuration is completed. Now I'll check the reachability. So when my LAN PC will try to communicate to internet address of my branch server which is 2.2.2.2. Okay, sorry, ping 2.2.2.2. Okay, so what I'm getting here, destination host unreachable, right? So whenever you ping, you will have three type of ICMP message. One is reply from, means when you are getting reply from, okay, So reply from means, if you are coming here, reply from means that your communication is successful and the destination system is reachable from your system. But when you are getting request time out, or you are getting destination host unreachable, okay. So when you are getting destination host unreachable, which is here, right? This one. So in that case, what is the meaning of this request time out or destination host unreachable? Request time out means that I belong to 192.168.1.1 and I am trying to communicate maybe 1.2 or 1.10 or something from the same network pool, and I won't be able, when I'm not able to communicate, okay, then you will receive request timeout. Okay. Now, when you are getting destination host unreachable, right? Okay. So destination host unreachable means you belong to different network and you are trying to communicate to a different network. You can see this message here. I belong to 10 subnet 192.168.10.0 something slash 29. It's a different subnet and I'm trying to communicate to different what one this which is 2.2.2.2, right? So when I'm trying to communicate to different, okay, so it's a different network, then it will go to router. Who is router? My default gateway, which is here. I'm pinging to 2.2.2, but who is telling that 2.2 is not reachable? My gateway is telling me that, see, 2.2 is not reachable. Destination host unreachable means my packet is reaching to my default gateway, which is headquarter 1, and headquarter is not reachable to 2.2.2.2. Okay, it's not reachable. Okay, because we do not have routes towards 2.2.2. That's why we have to configure routing. So if we'll check here, so IP route. Okay, see, do your headquarter router know about 2.2.2 or 3.3.3 or something like 23, 24? No. That's why your PC system, which is in your LAN, they are not communicating to internet IP addresses. Okay, so you have to configure routing. So for configuring routing, you have to come to the router, to type here conft router eigrp 10 router eigrp 10 network. See, eigrp has multiple configuring method. I'll show you all. Okay, so if I'll want to configure, say I have to 12.1.1.0. Okay, so here I can configure like this. Okay, 255 255 255 252. Okay, second method of configuration is network. You can simply type 1.1.1.1. Okay, third method of configuration, network 192.168.10.0 with the wildcard mask. So what is the wildcard mask of /29? So it's very simple. You just have to minus the 248 from 255. So it's 0000 and 7, and then no auto exit. So any command you can use for configuring eigrp, but there is some difference in routing, will come to know. Okay, of course your eigrp will be configured, but there is some difference. What is the difference when while configuring this command? What is the difference while configuring this, and the difference while configuring this? Okay, now another method is also there. So if I am coming on ISP router, say here, so I'll come here conft router eigrp 10 network. See, if I'm writing this one means conf t router EIGRP10 network node means all the network which is connected to my device, please advertise. Okay. Okay. So ISP routing is completed. Now I will come here to branch router conf t router EIGRP10 network and then node. That's it. You can see the message reachability done, neighborship is up, conf t router EIGRP10 network and then exit. One more thing what I wanted to share tell you here that we are just configuring the reachability. Okay, so don't worry about that what command I'm using. So the detail of these commands you will know when we will learn about network. Okay, so this is just an overall reachability to work on this lab. Okay, so configure routing to provide reachability from LAN to WAN, from LAN to WAN. So this work is done completed. After that, verify the communication and check the routing cable. Okay, verify the communication and check the routing cable. So for verifying the communication and this, you have to come to your PC1 or headquarter router 1, and then you have to type one command. So IP route or so IP route EIGR, and then you can come here to PC1 and then you can type here ping 2.2.2.2 and you can check the reachability. So same thing here, let's come here, come to headquarter router. So IP route, so if I'm writing so IP route, I'll get all my connected link information and the received network information. So here I'm getting 2, 3, 23, 24 with the help of EIGRP. But if I'll write this commands route EIGRP, so I will get only EIGRP routes in my routing table. It will filter with the command of this EIGRP. So show me only EIGRP routes, not all routes. So this is the command to show only EIGRP routes. So you are getting routes, so your PC will communicate now. Okay, so communication is completed. Done. Okay. Now, once the reachability is completed, okay, then we will secure our router configuration. Now my router configuration is done, then I will secure my router configuration. Then to secure my router configuration is that, suppose this is my headquarter router. Okay, configuration is done. Now suppose after configuring my router I exit. Okay, I clicked on exit and that's it. Okay, someone will come to my router, and when he will click, okay, see here, the he came to privilege mode, then he came to configuration mode, and now he is configuring whatever he want. Even he can check what is there, what is running. So IP protocol, okay, EIGRP is running. Okay, now so IP routes, so interface, so each and every detail he will get, or he can manipulate my router. Okay, to secure my router I need to configure console password, because router is configured or access only via uh, some modes which I can tell you, like one is console mode, second one is telnet, third one is through HTTP, fourth one is like SDM. Okay, so right now we are working here with the console. Okay, so let's secure our console line. So first of all you have to type here conf t, then line console 0, because there is only a single console. Line console 0, password is Cisco 123, login, and then exit. Okay, now click, suppose now you can exit and then save this configuration. After saving this configuration, just click exit. Now you exit. Now if someone will try to access your device, see, now you are getting a password prompt. So what password you have given? So here I have given what, Cisco 123, Cisco 123. Now see, enable sorry, conf t, and everything is you received. So now let's enhance this configuration. Configuration is like, suppose the organization of, like technical organizations, like you will find multiple administrator, not a single administrator, right? Like there are 2 3 administrator. So see here, if you are getting only password prompt, right? Okay, so who access at what time and what he has configured, how you will come to know, because there is no username and password, there is only password. Okay, so as a network administrator you have to create username plus password. Are you understanding? So if you want to differentiate and to check and to monitor that who has configured what in the router at what time in the log, so you have to differentiate and you have to assign the privilege with the username. Okay, so let's create, like, see here, user name admin1, privilege 15, password is Cisco 1. I'm just using same password not to forget, that's why. Okay, I created admin1. Maybe I have 2 admin or 3 admin in my organization. 3 admin. Then I will come here. This is the perfect configuration. Line console 0. Okay, password I have already configured, but let me configure it again. Password Cisco 123, and then instead of login you have to write here login local. and then exit, and now you can see the difference. Exit and then exit or disable. Okay, then exit. Now see, enter. Now what you're getting, username, but if you scroll up, we were getting sorry, there is no information, password in on. Okay, but here username. So maybe in my organization I have three admin, admin 1, admin 2, admin 3. So who is accessing this router? So I means admin 1 is accessing. So admin 1 will put his own username and password, then he can access. Okay, and whatever he can configure, then there will be a log in the syslog server that okay, admin 1 has accessed this router at this time and what configuration he made. Okay, so this was the perfect configuration what we have configured here. Okay, you have to create username and password, and then you have to configure console line with the login lookup. So the first security is done. Okay, okay, now let's work on another security. Another security is to secure your privilege mode, this mode. See here, if I'm writing here disable, so I came to okay, so when you type here disable, and then here if you type here enable to get privilege mode. Okay, so this mode you have to configure. I hope when we are on the Cisco network, so Cisco devices has modes. Okay, this is the user mode, this is privilege mode, and this is global configuration mode. This one you can see here three different type of mode. Okay, so how we can secure this mode? So whenever user see, user mode is already secure with the help of the console password what we have given, but we can secure our privilege mode as well. So how we can secure our privilege mode? Let's see. You just have to type enable password Cisco 123 and then exit, right, save this, and then disable. Okay, and then again exit. Okay, now see, this is headquarter 1 console 0 is now available. So if I'm writing here username, so first you have to type here admin 1, password Cisco 123, right? But here this is simulation, so after this you will get user mode, but I'm directly getting privilege mode. But no problem, to show you I just let me write disable. Okay, then if I'm typing here enable, see now I'm getting prompt for password. But if you see before this, we were not getting the when I came from user mode to privilege mode, you didn't receive or we didn't receive any kind of password message, right? So now here we have to type like Cisco 123, the password what we have given on enable mode. Then I can write here conft. Okay, now the problem is maybe I have configured multiple passwords in the system, right? So if someone will come here and if he will write here so running config, right? So when he will write so running config, so each and every password he can see here like the enable password is this, the users what you have configured in the system, each and every password is visible here, right? How? So what we can do? Okay, so there is one command. You can come here conft, you can write here service password encryption. Okay, or simply you can write here service password space encryption. Sorry. Service pass password encryption. Okay. SP no. Okay, so this is the command. Okay, service password encryption. So when you have used this command, so what will happen? So the password what earlier when it was visible, now it is in an encrypted form. So you have encrypted the password. Okay, but the guy, but let me tell you the whoever has joined my earlier networking class, they know how we can crack this password, right? So if we'll come to any website or there are some other software as well, so let me show you. So you just have to go to Google and you have to write how to crack Cisco password 7. Is it password 7 or password 7? Password 7. So I'll come here to, so let me copy this password. Okay, I'll come here, right click, paste, and then crack. See, Cisco 123. So password 7 is not successful. So password 5 is successful visit, which is MD5. Okay, so what password we have to use? So let me come here. So we have to use encrypted password. So that is known as enable secret, and password is Cisco 1234. Use this one. Okay, and then Control Z, save. And now if you are typing here, so run, and now see, can you see here? It is encrypted. And if you'll come here to the Google and if you'll try to find Cisco crack Cisco password 5, okay, if you'll try to put that password, okay, see here also you are able to crack, right? Because this is very simple password, but when it is complex password you won't be able to crack it. Okay, see some websites, okay, why it is saying maybe from my cookies they are receiving it, because multiple times I used to show and crack. Okay, so let me use another secure password and see whether it is able to crack or not. Conf, conf t enable secret double hash 123 at Cisco double hash Cisco. Let's try this one. So running config. See, can you see? So the password was very simple. That's why it was able to crack. But when your password will be in a secure format, which includes numerical alphabets and some special character, in that case someone when they are trying to crack your password they won't be able to crack it. Okay, so if it is simple, that's why we were able to crack it. Okay, so I just wanted to show you that when you will use normal password 7, so it will be cracked by anyone, but when it is secret password 5, no one can crack it. Okay, now, okay, so now we are working on password policy of your system. So what is password policy? Password policy means, like, suppose if I'll come here, I'll create here username ABC, okay, and then I will say here password, I will write 1 2 3 4 like this. Okay, it's very simple password. And in organization, uh, no one allow you to keep normal password. Why? So if you use normal password, anyone can crack and he can enter in your system, right? So that's why organization administrators, they create some kind of password policy. Okay, so in that policy, you cannot create less than like 5 character password or a 10 character password. So let me write here, let me create a password policy: security password minimum length 8. Okay, and now see, when I'm trying to create again some other user like ABCD. Okay, now see, invalid password length must contain 8 to 25 character password configuration space. So these type of password policy you must have to apply in your organization to enhance your router security. Okay, okay, so after completing the basic security, IP configuration, reachability, and the basic security of the router, now we are moving to some other advanced configuration. Okay, so let me take one simple example to understand the advanced security configuration of Cisco router as well as Cisco firewall. So there are some type of attack which is known as dictionary attack, brute force attack, and DDoS attack and DOS attack. So there are many type of attacks. So we are just talking about DOS attack, which is known as a denial of service attack. So denial of service attack is a type of attack like here you will find one hacker, and this is your company web server. So what he will do? So normally hackers, they use some kind of application to send multiple requests to your web server. See, every company have their own web server, and on that web server they publish some kind of websites. So the external or outside users, they can come to the web server and they can get the information, right? Now the company uh, servers where they provide internet bankings or something like that, they also provide reachability to external users or outside users to reach to your the web server, right? So suppose this is a bank server which is available for everyone, for internal user as well as external users. So maybe when the hacker will come here and what he is performing, so this hacker is performing one kind of application to send multiple requests to a single server. Okay, so what he will do, he will send thousands or millions of requests to this single server. So what will happen? This server has the limitation to solve the request or to respond upon the request. Okay, it's not that, like, suppose just think about you. If a single person will call you, right? Okay, so when a single person will call you on your phone, then you can respond easily, right? But if 10 guy will start calling you, hi, how are you, tell me something like that, so to responding 10 people, it will be difficult for you on the same time, right? Okay, so here, if millions of requests will be sent to a victim server or your company server, maybe it can hang or it can crash, right? So see here, a denial of service DOS attack is an attack meant to shut down a machine or network. Okay, okay, or the main purpose of sending this DOS attack to crash the target system. So when the target system is crash or hang, so easily the hacker can easily enter to the network and he can manipulate your server, or maybe he can uh, use to transfer some money, or he can steal money, any kind of motive that hacker can have, right? Okay, okay. So as I explained you the DOS attack. Okay, so if I have one server in my organization, so how we can configure security, okay, to stop DOS attack to our server, right? Okay, so this is the lab what we are going to configure. So as you see that the lab is already configured, we have configured IP address, we have configured the reachability. Okay, okay, so now as we here I have kept one hacker system. Okay, so in this hacker system I am going to explain you about DOS attack, right? So to configure DOS attack, we have to configure some kind of scenario. So scenario is what? This is my headquarter system. In this headquarter system I am just configuring telnet. Okay, so here line vty 024 vty 04, password cisco 123. Okay, same here, login local. Okay, transport input telnet exit. Here if we have used login local, so if you have already username and password, it's okay. If you do not have, you can create user name admin 4. We have already admin 4, so let's use admin 5. Privilege 15. Privilege 15 is the authorization. Okay, password cisco 123. Privilege is used to give the power, like if I'll give you privilege 14, privilege 13, so privilege 15 is the highest power given to the user. Okay, privilege 0 is the least power, privilege 15 is the highest power. So we'll come to know about privilege in the advanced security. Okay, now exit. Now, so telnet is configured now. So once the telnet is configured, I'll come to my branch. Okay, branch router. Branch router wanted to access the headquarter router to get some data, some files, or maybe some kind of information, right? So he will just simply come to privilege mode and he will type telnet. Okay, and telnet and the IP of the headquarter server. Now he is getting username. He will type admin 1, password is cisco 123, right? He is getting the information and he is able to access, and he is working and he's accessing. But the problem is, let me exit. Problem is when hacker, see, hacker also know the IP address of your server, but he don't know the password and something like that, right? So when he don't know the password, what he will do, he will use some kind of dictionary attack. Dictionary attack means guessing attack. So he will guess. Okay, okay, so he will guess that what type of password you are using, what type of information you are using, and after on the behalf of those guessing he will send some username and password to crack your server login. Okay. So as we have configured telnet and we have access from branch router and we were successfully logged in to the headquarter and we have accessed it. Now what I'm saying, let's come to hacker system to understand denial of service attack. Now hacker, he know the IP of your server, but he don't know the password. So what he will do, he will start guessing the password and he will try, okay, one password, two password, three passwords, like that. Okay, so when he will come here and he will type telnet and the IP of your server. Okay, username, okay, he don't know the username, enter, he don't know the password, then again he will try another one, then again he will try another one. Okay, so and he will start, he with the help of software he will start sending multiple username and password. So sending username and password, so it will come to server but it will not authorize, but still traffic will be sent from hacker to your server, right? So what will happen, after some time you will see that your server will start hanging. Why? Because your server uh, is receiving multiple uh, traffic from unknown source, but your server is not denying the traffic. He is accepting the traffic, but he is denying only with the username and password, but he is accepting the traffic, right? So what you will configure, that your server will refuse the traffic from unknown source or unknown what you can say, from unauthorized source, right? Okay. Okay, so what you need to configure. Okay, so see, this is the configuration scenario is what, if someone is trying to perform any kind of DOS attack on a router or server by using telnet protocol, create a policy on the router for telnet access. Okay, if any router sorry, any remote user will fail for 3 wrong attempts within 15 seconds, block the router access till next 3 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever you like. Okay. Okay. So let's perform. So let's come to the headquarter. So as you have seen that we have already configured telnet, we just have to create some security on that. So security is what you have just have to create a login block for 180 seconds, means block for 180 seconds if someone is trying to send 3 wrong attempts 3 within 15 seconds. 15, what happened? Login block for 180 attempts, 3 oh sorry within 15 seconds. Okay, so this is the command. Okay, this is the last one is the command. Login block for 180 seconds if attempt is 3 wrong attempts within 15 seconds. And if you come here and type here, so login, okay, so you can see some message here. Default, I'm sorry here, uh, router enable to watch login attacks. If more than 3 login failure occur in 15 seconds or less, logins will be disabled for 180 seconds. Okay. Okay. So now let's come to the hacker router. Now if he's trying one attempt wrong, second attempt wrong, even third attempt wrong. Okay. So when the third attempt is wrong, now you can see here, and after this third attempt, when he is trying to access the router, the connection is refused, right? Why? Because router is not accepting the connection. So if you come on the router, you will receive some message. What message is here? Message is saying that now user, this is the user, source is hacker IP address 224.112, local port 23, means someone is sending telnet request on your server. Reason for this message is login authentication failed, bad user, and any kind of policy or any kind of security is defined by ACL, and we haven't created any ACL. That is self-defense ACL has been created automatically after configuring that login block for command. Okay, so automatically ACL has created one, your system has created one ACL which is known as self-defense ACL. So this blocking is done with the help of self-defense ACL. Means if someone will try more than 3 wrong attempts, automatically your system will be locked for 180 seconds. Same like your ATM card. So if you put wrong password 3 times, your ATM will be locked. Then you have to go to the bank and then they will approve and then they will give you a new ATM card, or they can reset the password, right? So same here, if you will come here on your so access list, you will see here that the self-defense ACL has been created automatically. Now the problem will come here. See, hacker is denied not to access the headquarter, right? And not to send any traffic to headquarter. You can see here, hacker, when hacker is trying, he is not able to send any traffic to headquarter, right? Okay. See, not able to send any traffic, right? Now, but when this your branch router is sending traffic, so your branch router is also not able to send traffic. So this is the problem, right? So problem is you have blocked for what you did. You blocked for hackers, right? But the problem is now your headquarter router has blocked for telnet access for hacker. Now, but you when your branch router is trying to access, he is also blocked. Okay, and why? Because while configuring the policy, you haven't created any kind of exceptions. Okay, so you just have created login block for. Okay, so when your router is disabled for 3 minutes, no one can access, whether he that is your own user or hacker user, right? So here we have to create exceptions. Exception is that if hacker or unknown source will try to access my router with the wrong username and password, right? Then in that case, my router will be blocked or disabled for disable login for 3 minutes as what we have given. But when my branch user will come to access from the known source, not from the unknown source, from the known source, then you can allow him to access the router. So you have to define the known source, right? Okay. Now see, there is one more message which is known as quiet mode. So when your quiet mode is on, right? Quiet mode is on, so no one can access the router, whether it is from source, from unknown source or from known source. Okay, here this quiet mode. Now when the quiet mode is off, see, let me come here. The quiet mode, what we have enabled for 3 minutes. So when the quiet mode is off, then your branch router will come and try to access, then he can access. But when quiet mode is on, and when quiet mode will on, when someone will put 3 wrong attempts, and the quiet mode will on for 3 minutes, and till 3 minutes no one can access the router, whether the user is from source, known source, or from unknown source. Understood? Okay. So when the quiet mode is off, then someone can access. So here we have given just 3 minutes, maybe someone will give like 1 hour. So till 1 hour, if the hacker has tried to access the router and router has blocked the connection, right, and your known user is trying to access the router, and he is just waiting. Why? Because your router is denying the connection for 1 hour. Why? Because hacker has tried to attempt. Are you understanding? So you will say that okay, no problem, so let's configure some exceptions in the quiet mode. We'll see that. Okay, no problem. Exceptions will be created with the help of ACL. We'll see, we'll tell to the router that okay, if someone is trying to hack the router from unknown source, no problem, blocking, right? But when router is in block mode, okay, and when someone is trying to access the router from known source, please allow him. Okay. So for that, what you have to configure, let's come to the headquarter router. You have to create exceptions. Okay, so exceptions will be configured with the help of access list. So you have to write here IP access list standard, the number of the access list, permit host. What is the IP of that host? IP of that host is 23.1.1.1.2, and then exit. And then here you have to write here login quiet mode access class 10, exit. Okay, and now if you type here, so login, now what is here saying that quiet mode access list 10 is applied, and in this access list what is there? So IP access list, what is there in the access list? See here, this is your self defense. Before self defense access list, this access list will run, and in this access list permit is there. So for this, traffic is permitted, and traffic is denied for who? For those who is from unknown uh, source, and when they are trying with the wrong username and password, right? Okay, so let's verify it. Okay, so for verifying, what we can do, let's come to the hacker again. So let's block the connection first. Wrong username, wrong password, wrong username, wrong password, wrong username, wrong password. Now you will see the connection is blocked, connection is refused, and now headquarter is receiving something, same message, that the connection is refused, login authentication failed by the user, which is 24.1.1.2. Okay, bad user, like that, right? Now, but when the branch user will try to access, see, branch user is able to access. Why? Because exceptions has been created here. Branch user is able to access and there is no problem for them. Okay, so this is the best part to stop the DOS attack. Right now, one more thing. Let's come to this hacker router. Let me show you one thing. When I'm writing this connection, telnet. Okay, yes. Just wait for just wait to accept the connection. Okay, then we can configure it. Slow down the attack. And what is slow down the attack? Let me explain. What is slow down the attack? So this configuration is done. The access list exception is completed. So hacker PC was denied. Okay, but my company user was able to access when quiet mode was on. Okay, with the help of exceptions made in access list. Now, in a quiet mode, okay, sorry, okay, so slow down. Sorry, how we are going to slow down? Okay, so slow down attack is whenever hacker is trying to access the server with the help of telnet. So whenever he is typing username and password, wrong user. So second username and password prompt or option is coming in 1 second, right? So you can slow down that. Okay, if someone is trying to put wrong username and password first time, okay, second username and password will come after 10 seconds. So attack is low, right? Are you understanding? Maybe like your name is, for example, your name is Emmanuel. So someone is telling, okay, Emmanuel, and then again Emmanuel, 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 like that, right? So how many traffic he is sending to you? But when he is saying that Emmanuel, and then he is waiting for last 10 seconds, then again he is saying Emmanuel. So you understood that how much means you have stopped the attack, right? 10 times, right? So if someone will say, ah, this server is very tough to hack because after sending one packet, he has to wait for 10 seconds. Okay. So in that case, you can slow down the attack. So how to slow down the attack? Let's see. Okay. So let's come here to the server. To understand this slow down the attack, you have to type here so login. So when I'm typing so login, is written here a default login delay is 1 second. 1 second means if hacker is coming here, see, he's trying telnet username like that, enter. See, second username and password he received in just 1 second, right? Are you getting? So what I will say, I will come here to the router to configure the slow down the attack. You have to write here conf t on the headquarter router and just type login delay 10 second. And now if you write here so login to check, see what is here, login delay 10 second is applied. And now when you are coming to hacker, right, wrong username password, see, second username is not coming now. See, second username is not coming. So this hacker will wait for last 10 seconds to receive the second username and password. Are you getting? Okay, so this is the way how you can slow down the attack. Okay, now we will see that see here your headquarter router is receiving message, error message, right? When the hacker is crossing his limit, three wrong attempts. Are you getting? When he is crossing the limit of three wrong attempts, then your headquarter router is receiving the error message. Are you understanding? Like suppose if I'm coming here, let's telnet one wrong attempt, right? Okay. But after one wrong attempt, your router is not getting any kind of message that okay, someone is trying to access my router with the wrong username and password. Okay, so I want to configure some log messages on the router that okay, if someone is trying to access my router with the wrong username and password or correct username and password, show me all the logs, successful logs and failure logs. You have to show me all. Okay, so what you have to configure, first come to the router, login delay. First let me remove this login delay because it will take long time to check. Okay, so first you have to type here login on success log, and same here login on failure log. Okay, now so your log is enabled. If you're typing here so login, see here it's written here all successful login is enable and failed log is enable if it is single failure or multiple failure. So if you are coming here and if I'm typing here single failure, see here. After that I received one message that okay login failed. Okay, user is this, source is this, port is this, reason is login authentication failed. But when a branch user will come here and when he is trying to access telnet admin 2 1 2 3, sorry not 1 2 3, so Cisco 1 2 3, he is able to access. Now you can see here he received all message. What? Login is successful, login success, user admin 2, source is this, local port is this, and date and time. Even when he will come and exit, okay, log out, okay, or exit is the same command. Okay, so he receives same message, log out, user admin 2 has exited from the terminal session. Okay, and this is the session. Okay, so these kinds of log also you can enable on your routers, and this is very good. Why? Because log is very much important to your organization to monitor. Okay, like suppose if you want to monitor something which has been initiated by hacker or some, like okay I just wanted to monitor the logs, so how you will monitor the logs? So for monitoring the log you have to enable the logs. Okay, okay, so now here is some other command, let me show you. See here, so login, so login is a different command. Okay, and so log in is a different command. So login is used to check the logs, older logs you can say. Okay, this is used to check the logs which has been generated and kept in your buffer memory, and this option is used to enable the logs. So login command is used to check which type of logs is enabled in my login session. Okay, and so login is used to check with this command. Where is that command? With this command you can check how many logs we have and what type of logs we have in our system. Okay, see here all the logs, failure logs, successful logs, okay, self defense ACL logs, packet drop logs, access logs, like that. Okay, so guys, we are done with all this demonstration. Okay, so please go through it and check, do some labs, do some practice, and when we will start our overall session. Okay, and whoever will be registered user, they will get the Cisco license software link where you can the with them you can download and you can, I will help you how you can install in your system with the help of GNS, and you will receive some Cisco viral iOS images as well. Okay, for doing all the labs. Okay. So thanks for joining the session. Okay, we'll meet again. Before the second demo session, please go through it. Then we will again work on the second demo session. Okay, and as I already told you that we are starting the network security batch in December 1st week. Okay, so thanks again. I'll be sharing this video very soon with the PDF, with the slide. Okay, and I have already shared the benefits of the class in our WhatsApp group. Okay, please check, and please let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.